Welcome back to the shop. It's good to see you again. In this episode we do some more work on the ducting and pull in. You probably can't see very well, but there's a load of cable hanging out of the ceiling. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of pulling cables in this time. So buckle up. We'll see you after the titles. I've done a temporary connection here so that I can test out my Cat 5 wiring. As you can see, that's not really very neat, but that cable goes up across the duct there into the ducting and pops out in here. And I had a spot of luck the other day. I found a Cat 5 patch panel if you like, for $3 pound. So it's upside down, but I have just got some rack strip, so I'm going to put the rack strip up here somewhere, I think, and wire up this as structured cable at the top there. Now I'll just show you something about rack strip. I'm drying some wood off in my old workshop, as you can see, but I knew somewhere I had a piece of rack strip, so I had a good circle around, and blow me, I found it. Right, you've just seen me dig this rather crappy bit of old rack strip out from the old workshop. Now, I don't know if you can see this particularly well, but let me try and point this out. Rack strip or rack units come in multiples of 1U, which is a standard size, and it's 3 holes basically. So I went wrong with this many years ago, so I'm showing you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. Right, so I put it on the end here. Now this is that's 1U, so there's 2 cage nuts in there. They're M6 generally, and what you will notice with rack strip is there are thick bars between them and a thin bar. The thin bar is that tells you where a unit starts. So that's a start, 1, 2, 3 holes, and there's the end. So when you're fixing things in U's, make sure that you use the right spacing, because the spacing for these is different. If you see what I mean, because of the short gap. So that's where a 1U panel will fit, and the next 1U panel will fit there and there. So when you cut this stuff, this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 U. So basically, I'll cut it into 2U panels, 2U ends. So I'll cut it through there, and I'll cut it through there, and this piece in the middle here will be scrap. Right, here's a little shop gem. I've mounted my 2U rack strips in, but I've recessed them from the front, and there's a reason for that, because it's upside down, but when the panel goes in, the cables will loop out of here and into the switch underneath it. The only problem is that you need to allow space for the actual cable for the loop. So there you go. And here's the other tip. Put yourself a couple of cage nuts in your rack strip and put your panel on backwards like that, because that will make it so much easier for you to wire it. If it's actually held firm, your punch down tool, you won't be fighting the wires. So let me get on with that, and I'll start cabling up. There we go, that's nice and firm, so I can take my test cable out and start identifying cables, wiring them up. I must point out there are 2 different wiring standards for Cat 5 of this particular type I'm putting in. So it's really easy. All you have to do is follow the colour-coded instructions on the connectors. So it's very, very difficult to get it wrong. So this is where I've got to so far. I've finished wiring up my first 8 IT outlets, and I've left the next panel clear, or next part of the patch panel clear, so that if I have to extend it, put more patch points out in the workshop, it follows a logical sequence. So at this end, I've got, I started at 24, 3 and 2. I've got Wi-Fi, CCTV and server, which go to fly leads because they're inside this cabinet. I've also labelled up the incoming IT feed, which comes underground all the way to here from the house. So the next thing is to turn that panel round and put the switch up there on a shelf as well, and we can wire the other ends up and test it. Right, before I put this panel in and seal this up, I thought I'd do something a bit different. There's a cavity in here, and that's going to be sealed up pretty much as soon as this panel goes on. I'm never going to go back in there, so I thought I'll put a time capsule together. Before we retired, my wife and myself ran a laser cutting company, and we made lots of wooden fridge magnets, amongst lots of other wooden products, but these are the only things I can get in this cavity. So yeah, I thought I'd leave a load of those. We also supplied about a third of the country's cathedrals with magnets. So if you've ever seen one of these, it was me who made it, or me and the wife. We also did some specialised stuff for various charities. I'm going to leave a couple of my stickers in there, and also a drink of port. I had that several years. That doesn't look too cracky, but I'm not going to drink it, so yeah, we'll leave somebody else to try that. And a sealed up letter explaining a bit about this place and what we're doing. So I'm going to seal that up now. They can all fit at the top there, quite happily. Stickers. Oh, fridge worth of magnets. And one bottle of port. There we go. Seal it up. Job is a good one. I should still be able to fiddle the cables through because it's not much of a drop there. Excellent. This is one of the caps for my IT ducting, and you'll see in a little bit just how it all fits together. But that threads on and then screws onto the bottom of the ducting. This white drop tube slots in through the bottom of the duct. At this point I realised I couldn't secure the top of the white drop tube because it was too far away from the wall, so I thought I'll try this. So I heated it up, burnt it a little bit, but bent it. And this is how it all fits together inside the duct. You can just make out the colour-coded sticker on the side of this connector for the two different wiring schemes. Ethernet, not connected, Ethernet. Connected. That seems to be working. My favourite Wi-Fi name so far is Silence of the LAN. If you've got any cracking Wi-Fi names, then drop them down in the description. I'd be interested to see what people come up with. I sat one night in bed with my wife, and we came up with about a dozen different comedy names for Wi-Fi networks, none of which I'm going to share with you. Eight, working. 7, I'm just going to repatch. Connected, working, hurrah! I had a change of heart since the last video. I decided to move the air filter and regulator from between the two windows to over the end here behind the CNC router. The trouble is that this is plasterboard, so it's not strong enough, I don't think, to cope with the weight and people pulling on an airline. So I thought I better put up a plywood panel. So here we go. The time has also come to actually finally fit the dust port in this desk. So here we are. This is inside the cupboard, and the dust port that you can see, the drain pipe, goes through that top panel. That is actually the top of the desk. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There we go. It's not very straight. Well and truly on the huff. Oh well. C'est la vie. I couldn't keep looking at that, so I made changes. A small rubber persuader. There we go. That's far more acceptable. Goodness me. I was always going to put a collar around this that I'll make on the CNC anyway. So all of this will be hidden. It'll just be a pipe coming out of a spigot. Perfect. So this is the final arrangement of where the power sockets are going to go and the E-stop switch. I'm going to fit it roughly there. Having roughed out the position of these sockets, it's time to get on with my pneumatic regulator again as the paint has dried. blimey, that's not coming off without a fight. I also came to ground thinking that it would be a good idea to have a 16 amp waterproof connector, or waterproof system if you like, for working out on the patio. And thanks for Sean for the advice. I think you were spot on, mate. So I thought, yes, stuff it, I'll fit one. Whilst I was at it, I also thought it would be a good idea to fit an isolator for it. So that's what this box here is. Just basically a big beefy switch. We've reached that point, it's time for a build montage. So here's 3 minutes of me screwing things to walls. Good. Gave this stop switch a another panel on the side to block up a hole, and gave it a quick spray with some matte black to disguise it. Hopefully you can see it would have been a bit crowded to have got an airline in here as well. Not impossible, but it would have been busy to say the least. Okie dokie. So this is my other airline filter regulator, and it's this is on the bench where the mitre saw is. That's not coming off without a fight. hold it with this cleaning. I must just show you this. Workshops are dangerous. This is what happened when I walked into one of the light fittings when I was walking on the bench. And there's two things horrific about this. Firstly, it's a horrific gash in the top of my head. And secondly, where the hell's my hair gone? If you've made it this far, thanks for joining me and well done. I thought at the end of the video here I'd just walk round and show you exactly what is left to do, to be perfectly honest, in this workshop. There's very little, to be honest, so I'm hoping to get this done fairly soon. And in fact, my electrician friend Dan is coming round in 3 weeks from the date I shoot this video to connect us up to the power and do the appropriate testing. You're not allowed to do that yourself unless you're fully qualified, so and I'm not. So starting here, the cable is in for the circuit breaker for the 16 amp there, and my filter regulator air supply is in, but I haven't put the pipe work in yet. That's to be done soon. There is some cabling to be put behind this panel and underneath this router, and I haven't done it at the moment because basically I'm a lazy sod and I need to empty all that and crawl in the hole. So that will be next, or very soon anyway. The blue stuff is the pipe ready to go for the pneumatics. The rest of this is all spare. IT points are all in. There, that's the e-stop switch and 2 sockets in the mid bench. This end of the bench, another couple of sockets, another 2 IT points. The electrical cabinet is here for light switches, which are all going to be these bits and pieces. That's all going in there. I've got to put some lights on the outside of the workshop, and if I look inside here, most of the cables are in for this whole lighting setup. There's a few more to go in yet, but not much. Moving on, this whole heap of a mess in here is complete. It just needs all the bits installing and tidying up, and yeah, it's all in process. Over here, this is where the consumer unit is going to go. All of the cables, with the exception of one, I think, are in and fully labelled up as to where they go, so that's in process. The power to the laser cutter is all ready. Cables are in. The other side, the desk, there we go. There's 2 IT points and 4 sockets. The guys who left comments saying, yeah, I need more sockets, you were spot on. So that's all in. Moving along, there's a socket behind here. There you go. That will be for the mill, my CNC mill when it comes here. The desk, we have a pneumatic outlet, not quite square, a pneumatic outlet again, 2 IT points, a socket. That's going to be for my drill battery charger. Let's go around the end here. At the end, there's the piggy tail for the lathe. Here is the 8 outlets for machines on this desk. There is my dust extraction port, and the stop switch will go there. I've got to make a little CNC, a little spigot up to go under this, so that it'll hide all this stuff. Moving on, there's the power for the miter saw, and there is the power for the scroll saw. I'm not sure I'll keep the scroll saw, but we'll see. If you've got a laser cutter and a CNC router, you don't really need one of those, but I'll keep it anyway for the time being, see how we get on. Here's the socket for the dust extractor, and that is pretty much as far as we've got. So once again, thanks for joining me. It's always good to see you out here in the workshop, and you know, hopefully we'll see you in the next one when I get some more bits and pieces installed. There's only one more actual construction project that I need to do before this job is finished, and that is, if you see here, I've got piles of boxes, so I'm going to build a little shelving unit to go there. I was originally going to put some wall units up, but I just haven't got the time or the inclination at the moment, so I'm just going to make a shelving unit. Because I mean, as you can see, storage is a real big issue with workshops. What do you do with all this stuff? Anyway, take care. We'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.